Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is L3's newest podcast. My name is Craig. I am still presiding in the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. Today is March 31st, 2014, and it's dusk right now as we speak. And I'm going to throw a few things in here in good faith. You know, a couple of things you question and some areas that are beneficial. So first thing I'm going to be doing, this is from actually tweeted by Blacklisted News, and this originally came from 21st Century Wire, and it's entitled FBI Knew Boston Bomber Suspects Long Before the Main Event. So I'm just going to be addressing this and give you my viewpoint, and let's check it out, okay? So let's begin. The 1-year anniversary of the Boston bombing is fast approaching, and sadly, the American public are no closer to learning what really happened on the day and in the aftermath of the main event since the two Tsarnaev brothers were announced by the FBI as the prime suspects in the Boston bombing, which occurred on Monday, April 15th, 2013. Every major U.S. media network and government agency have assumed that the said suspects are guilty, based solely a single photograph claiming to place them as fleeing the scene of the alleged bombing. The most disturbing fact in the FBI's Tsarnaev brothers storyline is that only hours before fugitive brothers' photos were thrust into the media by the FBI, 2 other suspects were being pursued and are believed to have been killed following the manhunt. The first 2 names, which were announced as suspects who police were in pursuit of, were Mike Mulugeta, report as shot dead and missing, student Zuni Tripathi, whose body was reported to have been found dead, floating face down days later in the pond near Providence, Rhode Island, with both Mulugeta and Tripathi out of the frame. The FBI introduced the Tsarnaev brothers' pictures to the world. Interestingly, Tripathi was reported missing and appeared on an official FBI persons list from March 16th, which coincidentally followed a series of bomb explosions between Providence, Rhode Island and Boston taking place on March 12th. To date, authorities have not explained any of these facts, all which are pivotal to any real investigation of what happened last year's Boston Marathon. The FBI's narrative fell apart the minute they released the photos of Terryman Tsarnaev and brother Zarkov. These are men we're looking for now. Here's the obvious kicker, though. The FBI claimed not to know the names of the brothers in photos, and as it asked the public for any information relating to these 2 new faces. Despite a wall of denial and evasion, some smarter elements of the media discovered that not only did the FBI know who the brothers were, but the elder Tamerlan have been recruited by the agency as an informant, and although he is not alive to tell his side of the story, he is most likely working for either the FBI or another agency in that capacity. This explains why Tamerlan traveled overseas to attend the American Committee for Peace in the Caucasus in the summer of 2012, an event that was organized by the Jamestown Foundation, another known CIA front, which is part of a vast network controlled by Freedom House, which is George Soros' little group, and linked to the CIA, according to Voltaire Network. If that sounds suspicious, that is because it is, and the FBI cannot plead ignorance or incompetence regarding these glaring facts to the case it claims to have investigated. In light of this fact, then far from being a terrorist, Tamerlan Tsarnaev would actually fall under the category of patriot, working for the U.S. government, considering that the latest courtroom revelations in the trial of the Zarqa doesn't require a genius to work out that the two brothers were both patsies placed at the scene in a drill gone live. Did the FBI try to recruit Boston bomber Zarnev as spy? According to IB Times, Mark Pickett, IB Times, a defense attorney for Zarnev, 19, who faces the death penalty if convicted of carrying out the bombings at the Boston Marathon in 2013, claims the FBI attempted to recruit his older brother Tamerlan to spy on Muslims and the Chechen community in the city. Tamerlan Zarnev, 26, who was shot dead after allegedly carrying out the attacks, in which 3 people died, who has also been linked to a gruesome triple murder in the city, which took place on September 11th, 2011. 10 years to the day of the deadly terror attacks on New York and Washington. The bodies of apartment owner Brandon Mess, 25, Eric Wiseman, 31, and Ralph Biel, Tegan, 37, were found in a Waltham, Boston apartment on September 12, 2011. Their throats slashed, bodies placed face down, and covered with marijuana and thousands of dollars in cash. Tamerlan Zarnev was a close friend of Mess, visiting the Waltham apartment regularly. The two men also worked out at the Y Crew Mixed Martial Arts Gym. Despite his name being mentioned by several friends during interviews, he was never questioned and never attended the funeral or memorial service. The following Zarnev's death, an FBI agent went to interview his friend Ibrahim Tolshev in Florida. Tolshev also knew Mess and trained at the same gym. When asked about the killings in Waltham, he apparently implicated Zarnev, but then tried to attack the agent with a metal pole and was shot dead. The FBI agent responsible has been cleared from any wrongdoing. Now the journalists in the U.S. are asking how much information the FBI had about Zarnev and his murky past, and whether the FBI might have prevented the bombings taking place had they followed up leads about Zarnev earlier. Dozart's defense attorney filed a court motion on Friday, which we, based on this information from our clients' families and other sources, that the FBI made more than one visit to talk with Tamerlan's parents, and Tamerlan questioned Tamerlan about his internet searches and asked him to be an informant. However, in the statement, the FBI rejected the claim, saying there was no evidence that Tamerlan Zarnev was solicited by the government to be an informant. Yes, my friends, this is a very sketchy case. And I know one thing for sure. In good faith, I do consider these gentlemen patsies. Now, one of them has been deceased. May his soul be forever free. Now, with Dorkar's trial, I remember I did a we had a little discussion group on Facebook. Spokane Conservative Examiner. Which I can give them credit. You know, they're good folks. Doesn't matter if you have disagreements, but as long as you got a good discussion, they like that. And when the gentleman put that link on his posted on his page, my comment was, the federal government better hopefully the federal government, the prosecutors' evidence is very accurate. And I know I got a couple people thinking, including some thumbs ups, because we have to, in good faith, we have to question that. And I remember during the time when they announced that the Zarnev brothers were the suspects, Dan Badati asked the question about how come there are other photos with the suspects with with the same bags and they're not being wanted. They didn't reply to that gentleman's question. They just looked at him very, I would say, insulting. And I listened to that live on the actual press conference. Regardless of what you think of InfoWars or Bernardi, that was a legitimate question. Because remember what happened on the horrific events on September 11, 2001. We became more of a tyrannical society. Whether you believe they attacked because of our freedoms or you think it's an inside job, etc. It doesn't matter. But the main topic, we live in more of a police state since that horrific day. and now everyone's questioning what's going on, what happened in Boston on April 15th, 2013. And I'm going to throw another link in here too, pertaining to this topic, which is Executive Order 541, which was signed on 2012. And it's like establishment of the Commonwealth Military Asset and Security Strategy Task Force, which gets involved with contracts with the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, to generate funds, manufacturing business industries, nonprofit organizations. Just going to throw it in there. I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed, but anything's possible that it can link to these steps before that day. However, I'll make you decide for yourselves. So I will throw that in there as well. Alright, the next one I'm going to be hitting is from Sunshine State News, and it's entitled, which it was Rick Scott leads petition urging Obama to take action on Venezuela. This was written by Ken Derby on this day. Actually, it came out a few hours ago, to be exact, 4/11. It's almost 4 hours ago. And it was pretty short. It says, on Monday, two prominent Florida Republicans, Governor Rick Scott and U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, played on their opposition to Nicolas Maduro and his regime controlling Venezuela. Scott announced that he would send petitions more than 1,000 signatures from Florida urging President Barack Obama to take action against the regime. Back in February, Scott urged Obama to launch sanctions against the Venezuelan leadership. The people of Venezuela have a voice. This petition guarantees they will not be silent, Scott says. Their voices will not be ignored. This petition represents the voices of over 1,000 people who come together to urge the Obama administration to take action. The voices crying out for freedom, liberty, and justice will not be ignored. Living in Florida, we are surrounded by friends, relatives, and neighbors who are being directly impacted by Nicolas Maduro's wave of repression in Venezuela. Rubio, a member of the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee, said on Monday, I appreciate Rick Scott's continued efforts in support of our efforts in Congress to sanction individuals responsible for human rights violations in Venezuela and to get President Obama and his administration off the sidelines. Well, it may sound well and good. However, the people in Venezuela have to fight this on their own. And they're not being biased against them. A lot of beautiful people that came from Venezuela. Great folks. But I know their government is pretty damn streaky. That's how I look at all governments. Doesn't matter, freedom, republic, democracy. Always got to question that. And I know I have did a past report when they tried to shut down the internet, which a lot of the Venezuelan press said, what the hell are you doing? And I say this about the sanctions. The fact is, declaring sanctions against a nation is an act of war, and the people in Venezuela need to choose their destiny, whether being a free society or a governmental dependent alliance. Personally, I want to see them thrive on spiritual prosperity. It's a real shame, and that they're just an example of what's going on. The world is running amok as we speak. Even what's going on in Ukraine, the IMF bailout. Like what one Gerald Salente said, the International Mafia Foundation, or we call it, the International Monetary Fund. So, it is, a lot of stuff is happening, and the United States, in good faith, cannot be the policeman of the world. Everyone's got to stand up for themselves. And that's how I see it. And I just hope Venezuela, the people in Venezuela, will thrive on spiritual prosperity, because we all need it worldwide. So I'm going to hit the next one, which is actually from Off the Grid News. Actually, I'm going to do two from Off the Grid News. Happened on the same day. It's written by Adam C. And it's entitled Crisis Communications. Keep your cell phone charged in the chaos. I will proceed. There are so many events capable of severing power on an annual basis that it is hard to believe people are shocked when a power failure occurs. From natural causes such as snow and ice storm to man-made causes such as accidents and an aging power grid. Loss of power is something that everyone needs to plan for. Yet each time power failure for even modest proportions occur, the media captures images of people frantically looking for a place to charge their cell phones and even pirating power from public buildings in order to keep their phones alive. The modern cell phone is much more than just a voice communication device. It is a communication powerhouse that keeps us in touch with friends, families, and current events. In fact, the average cell phone has more ways of communicating than just about any other communications device on the planet. Consider that a cell phone can communicate via voice, text message, which is SMS or MMS, email, instant messaging, internet posting on social media sites, point-to-point voice over IP calls via software such as Skype, the ability to receive radio transmissions via the internet. Cell phones are really are disaster communication wonder kind, and you definitely want them up and running the next time a disaster strikes. Even if there is no signal available, most modern smartphones can piggyback off local Wi-Fi and still be of some use. Even if no Wi-Fi is available, a cell phone still has enough onboard storage capability to store hundreds of vital survival manuals, maps, data, and other potential life-saving information right at your fingertips. Having extolled the virtue of the modern cell phone and describing just how useful it is a wonder that more people don't have multiple methods of keeping it charged. Modern cell phone batteries have come a long way since some old brick phones of the late 80s, which had batteries run with times measured in minutes. Today, cell phones can usually go up a couple of days without needing a charge, assuming the phone isn't used very much. But therein lies the rub. During a disaster, you'll be using the phone more than usual. If not an attempt to make communications with someone, then likely to get information on the disaster itself. Wow. The modern lithium-ion battery construct has resulted in the smaller batteries that last longer. Modern cell phone construction has resulted in cell phones with larger, more powerful screens and faster processors, which drain life battery. Bottom line, you need a series of bulletproof methods of charging your phone. Here's what you need. 1. Wall charger. Every cell phone comes with a wall charger, yet few people pack the charger with them. Realize that during a disaster, even a power failure, there is often sufficiently available power to charge your phone. Yet most people don't have the charger on their person. It is a great idea to carry your wall charger in your bag or even in your car. Even during a power failure, lots of industrial and commercial buildings have things like backup power generators, power packs, or uninterruptible power supplies for their computers. Also, many people have car inverters which would access if you have your charger. 2. 12-volt car charger. Did you purchase a car charger for your brand of your phone? Today's phones are even easier to charge via your car than before, which each manufacturer made their own proprietary vehicle charging cables. Most phones today can charge via USB, and there are plethora of 12-volt cigarette-style USB chargers, most of which are available for under $15. Cars everywhere, and an idling car. Car can charge cell phone practically forever. If you don't have a car charger for your cell phone, you're missing out an easy and free way to charge your phone. 3. Solar charger and backup battery. Advances in technology decreases in cost of material have conspired to make small solar panels so inexpensive as to be called cheap. Today, modestly sized solar charger for a cell phone, one that is just slightly bigger than the phone itself, is available for under $30. Many of these solar chargers also include onboard battery, being you can leave your charger out in the sun with no cell phone attached, and the sun will charge up the internal battery. Then, even if a power failure hits at night, you can still use the solar charger within the charger's battery to juice up your cell phone. A solar charger should be really a mandatory accessory for anyone who frequently travels or has a long commute. Additionally, there are compact backup battery power units that can charge cell phones, laptops, and even jumpstart cars for all around $100. 4. Solar power generator. Solar power panels are ubiquitous among American homes, and for good reason. Solar power is clean, silent, renewable, and prices on solar products have fallen to the point where the average person can afford a solar system of some kind. A solar power generator can meet your small needs, such as charging your cell phone, but also can provide power to appliances during an electrical outage. Keeping your cell phone charged up is really not rocket science. It's hard to believe that in today's day and age of technology, people are still having their phones dead just after a few hours of power loss. A modern cell phone needs very little wattage to charge, around 4 watts per hour, and there's really isn't a valid excuse for letting your phone go dead during a disaster. A few dollars spent on some crucial accessories will ensure that you have indefinite power for your phone when you need it most. I do like this article a lot because I have a few of these little gadgets, which is pretty cool, and I do have a solar panel too, which I got that packed in storage, but I'm planning to get a couple more because I did try it on my phone and it's very effective. And what's cool about it too with these cell phones, you can do multiple things, and believe it or not, a lot of my past episodes I've provided was on my cell phone, believe it or not. So, yeah, it's an LG, go figure, you know. But I like it, you know, so it comes in handy. I can do my reports anywhere I go. So, yeah, definitely always recommend keep these handy, you know. Keep these little gadgets handy because you never know. And people need to take advantage of this technology. So always recommend put this on, keep this handy, and do it right, man. And I know one person wrote on here too. I have a pair of multi-channel handheld CB radios. There's no guarantee a cell phone service would be up and running in some type of disasters. There's all previous emergencies I have heard of. Cell phone service gets overloaded immediately when an event happens, which is true. So I have a CB radio too, so she should purchase that as well. Keep these little devices handy. These are good investments and life-saving. All right. So finally, there's another one from Off the Grid News, which came out today, and it's you could say natural health, and it's entitled "Off Grid Remedies for Sprains and Strains." This was written by Patricia Bratanu. Well, she's a registered nurse. And so it came out today as well. And I will pursue this right now. Bring it up a little bit. There we go. Good. All right. I'm going to begin here. We all suffer from sprained ankles or muscle strains at some time or another. Most of these injuries resolve in a short time. However, lingering effects of serious sprains may last for months or even years. Sprains are injuries to the connective tissues called ligaments. Ligaments attach your muscles to your bones, and an unexpected twisting movement causes ligaments to overstretch and even tear away from the bone. These types of injuries are most common in the wrist and ankle joints. Muscles have tough yet flexible protective web. This web-like tissue is known as fascia. Strains occur when fascia or muscles are injured. Most common cause of strains is overexertion of muscles and fascia. How to prevent injuries to muscles and connective tissues? The most important thing you can do is to pay attention to your body and your environment. Prevent falls. Pay extra attention if you're walking on an uneven terrain, wet or frozen surface, or in the dark. Wear non-skid shoes which are appropriate for the weather. Regular exercise to ensure that your joints and muscles are strong. Always do warm-up exercises prior to engaging in vigorous exercises. Lift heavy objects using large muscles of your arms and legs, not your back. If lifting heavy objects, get help. Avoid twisting while reaching, bending, or lifting. Safety is the first priority, my friends. Know your limits. If you're tied to a desk job most of the week, do not suddenly plan to hike up a mountain unless you've been engaged in a training program. How do you know if I have a sprain or strain? Sprains and strains are both painful injuries which cause localized swelling and sometimes bruising. The mechanism of injury is different. Sprains occur suddenly, while strains generally result over a period of time from minutes to days. Some sprains respond well to simple home remedies. Others require medical attention. It depends upon the degree of injury. Serious strains may result when the ligament is torn away from the bone. Sometimes the injury occurs with such strong force that piece of the bone which the ligament attaches to break off from the rest of the bone. If this occurs, you may feel a loose piece of the bone or an abnormal looking joint. In the lining of the joint itself may be impaired. Some sprains are so severe that dislocation of the fat joint occurs. Healing may take several weeks. Medical attention such as surgery or physical therapy may be required to complete healing to occur. Strains may be painful, but they usually feel their own within days to weeks. What should I do if I have a sprain or strain? Remember the acronym RICE, R-I-C-E, for treating sprains and strains. RICE means rest, ice, compress, and elevate. Do not try to walk it off or walk through pain to rest the injured area right away. Apply ice or cold water if ice is not available. Keep a bag of cheap frozen vegetables in the freezer specifically for injuries. You may prefer a clean, soft, wet washcloth in a sealed bag as well. They both mold to shape the body matter than commercial ice packs and ice cubes. Herbal ice packs. While ice is good, with a little planning you can have herbal compresses handy, which will relieve swelling, bruising, and discomfort better than plain ice. If you are away from home, these are great to freeze and carry in a cooler. Even if they thaw, they will still provide a cool relief for sprains and strains. A wide variety of herbs work, but here is my favorite blend. Simmer 4 teaspoons of dried or 4 tablespoons of fresh comfrey root with 3 cups of water for 20 minutes in a covered pan. Remove the pot from the stove. Add 1 tablespoon of dried or 3 tablespoons of fresh arnica flowers. Cover the pot. Let the herbs infuse for 20 minutes. If the America is not available, use peppermint leaf, black tea, or birch leaf. After 20 minutes or more, strain out the leaves. Use cheesecloth and squeeze the herbal residue carefully to reap over the herb medicinal value from the plant. Soak the cloth in the remaining tea. Place the cloth in a careful labeled bag and freeze. If someone gets injured, apply the herbal ice pack for the injured spot for 20 minutes. Remove the herbal ice pack for 20 minutes, then reapply it. Repeat the process as often as desired depending on the extent of the injury. Compress and elevate. If a joint is involved, apply an elastic bandage to the injury to reduce the swelling. To apply firmly, but not so tight to impair circulation. If you can easily slide 2 fingers beneath the snug bandage, you have applied it correctly. Check the circulation by asking the injured person to wiggle his or her fingers or toes. Check the skin of their fingers or toes to be sure that they are not numb, pale, or blue. Those signs indicate that the bandage is too tight. If it is too tight, adjust the bandage immediately. Otherwise, remove it a couple times daily until the pain and swelling are reduced. Elevate the extremity above the level of the heart to further reduce swelling and pain. What else can I do to help sprains and strains heal? After a few days, you may find that warm compress provide more comfort than ice or cold compresses. Use the same procedure as for making herbal ice packs, but do not freeze or saturate cloths. Instead, apply warm herbal packs. Tropical creams containing arnica or comfrey are beneficial as well. Use meadowsweet or white willow bark internally to further reduce swelling and discomfort. Follow label instructions. I'm not sure what kind of injury you have. The injured person is elderly or a child, or if you think that your injury may need further attention, contact a qualified healthcare professional. Yeah, stuff I learned here today, my friends, about sprains and strains. No, it's very, very neat stuff here, man. You know, and I'm glad I'm learning this as well, and hopefully everyone out there are doing the same. So, but what I gotta say is thank you for listening, and you can still, you know, hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Tumblr, YouTube, of course, Spreaker. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Love me, hate me, criticize. Send me information too, man. That'd be great. It's always good to spread the love. You know what I'm saying? All right, my friends. That's all the time I have for now. And thank you for listening. And as always, demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate societies. Until then, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.